Hey guys, welcome back. So today I'm going to be showcasing every single magic in Arcane Odyssey. So Arcane Odyssey is a brand new game and it has a bunch of new magics. And today I'm going to be showcasing every single one of them. So let's start. So first up, we actually have my magic, which is fire magic. So this is the first move, which is just Fire Blast. As you see here, it is a cool little blast, and it's far range and it's pretty good, it does burning damage. Next up is Fire Explosion, or Fire Blast. And as you can see here, it does a pretty big AoE move. Next up, we have Fire Shockwave Explosion. Now we have Fire Pillar Explosion, which sends up like a pillar of fire. Then we have Fire Jump, and then last but definitely not least, Fire Beam. So once we look at these magics, we're going to see that all of these magics are actually pretty much the same, but just with different effects. So next up, we have Lightning Magic. So the first move of Lightning Magic is Lightning Blast. So as you can see, it's called Apocalyptic Bolt, and it does a pretty cool lightning, like basic blast. Okay, so next up we have this move called Tyrant's Drive. As you see, it basically just puts lightning onto the floor and basically just shocks everyone around them. And overall, lightning is a pretty cool magic, and that's a pretty cool move. So next up, we have a lightning move called Lightning Surging. So basically just like a single one-time like pillar drop move, similar to fire. So we actually have a rare spell next up, and you can only get this from chests. So as you can see, it's a pretty cool like awakening move that you can actually just use, and it's basically just like a little ball from like Dragon Ball that actually comes out and basically just does lightning damage. And then we have Lightning Snare. It's like a one-time like Chidori kind of lightning move, which is overall pretty cool. So finally we have the ultimate move for lightning, which is this cool looking blast. It just sends like a bunch of light beams out, and it does a lot of damage. And yeah, so next up we have Explosion Magic. This is the first move, Explosion Beam. So that's pretty cool. And then the next move is called Explosion, which does a big explosion. Pretty self-explanatory there. Then the next move that we have, Explosion Blast, sends out like a bunch of mini particles. So next up we have Light Magic. So this is the first move, Light Phoenix. Just a small little beam that sounds like a big like energy ball. Then the next move, which is the E move, is Light Explosion. So it does just this little explosion. Then the next move that we actually have up next is the R move, which is Light Leap. So this is the same as other moves, and I'm probably not going to showcase it for the other magic because it's essentially the same. But next up we have the F move, which is Light Beam, which is pretty cool. And then we are going to see the next move, which should be the ultimate move. And basically the V move only works on enemies, so it's like counterattack, I think. So next up we have the ultimate move, which is Light Phoenix, and this is actually like a pretty nice looking move, and as you can see, whenever you awaken, you get like a little aura around you. Next up is Wind Magic. So first up we have Wind Blast. Then we have the next move, which is Wind Explosion, so it just sends out like a bunch of pillars of wind. And then we have Wind Leap, which is just a basic wind jump move, and basically every magic has that. And then we have the next move, Wind Beam. And finally we have Plasma Magic. So this is the first plasma move, Plasma Beam. So I actually like this magic. It has a bunch of like cool plasma particles. I really like the pink. I think it looks really unique. Then we have Plasma Blasts. So it basically sends up just like a bunch of like plasma balls. Then we have Plasma Explosion. It's like the basic pillar move. And then the charge looks pretty cool too, I'm not gonna lie. So next up we actually have Weapon Imbuement. So you basically infuse plasma magic within your thing, and you get like a little lightsaber instead of your weapon. So these are the moves, and these actually have like a bunch of really cool moves, which is why I suggest going like Conjure or Warlock, so you can unlock like Weapon Imbuement with your fighting style and weapon. So it makes it really cool. Next up we have Acid Magic. So the first move is Acid Bomb. So it has like a bunch of acid and like dissolving damage. Then next up we have the next acid move, which is called Dissolving Pillar, which is like a nice long range attack. Then we have this next move called Corrosive Laser. And then we actually have the next acid move, which is Dissolving Pillar, which is like a nice little area move. Then we have the next move, which is Dissolving Pillar, which is basically just one of the basic pillar moves. And then we have Acid Jump, which I really like the green part and the dissolving damage, make this magic unique. Next up we have water magic. So the first water move is actually water spear, which just does a little water spear. And then we have the next move, which is just water blast, sends a drop of water. Then we have water beam, which sends a beam of water. Then we have water shockwave explosion, which is just an upgraded version of the explosion. Then we have water pillar, which is this long water pillar move. I think it's pretty cool. And then we have water jump. So I actually think this is pretty similar to Noel Silva's magic from Black Clover, which makes it really nice. Next up, we actually have ice magic. So first move, we have this ice pillar, which makes like a nice snow pillar. And then we have ice jump. Then we have ice explosion. It's like a nice little ice cube. Then we have ice blast. It's like it basically just shoots out like an ice cube. Then we have ice explosion, which is like the shockwave explosion. So up the upgraded version. And then finally we have ice beam, which sends out like a white beam of snow. So next up we have a very similar magic called snow magic. I don't really know what the difference is. So first up we have the snow jump. Then we have the snow explosion. And then we actually have the snow shockwave explosion, which is just the upgraded version. And then we have snow beam, which is a nice little beam right there. Then we have snow pillar, which is a nice little tornado looking move. And then we finally have snow blast, which is the first move. And yeah, I don't really know what the difference between those magics are. I'm assuming that they just have like different abilities. Like they pretty much have the same abilities, but just like different freezing damage and stuff. So next up we have one of my favorite magics, poison magic. It's just like venom. So at first we have the first move, which is venom pillar. Sends a nice little pillar of poison. It's pretty similar to Blox Fruits. Then we have venom beam, and this is actually the red venom skin, so that's why it looks like that. Then we have the next move, which is venom explosion. So you just point your cursor and then boom, there's an explosion. Then we have poison jump, which is pretty cool looking, but I think it's actually shorter than others. Then we have poison beam, which is similar to like a Blox Fruits move with the venom fruit. And finally we just have venom blast, or venom shockwave explosion, just a better explosion I guess. And sorry for the grainy quality on the images. I did find these off of Wikipedia, the Arcane Odyssey wiki, so that's why they're a little lower resolution than usual. But yeah, let's go on to the next map. So next up we have Senju Hashirama's magic, or jutsu, which is called wood magic. And here is the first move. So the first move is actually wooden blast. So it sends like a nice little wood cube. Then we have wooden pillar, which just sends up like a big wooden stick. Then we actually have wooden blast. And then we have wooden explosion. Then we have wooden beam, which is like a vertical wooden pillar. Then finally we have wood jump. And overall, I really like this magic. I think it's one of the more unique ones, and I should definitely think that you should try it out, but it's actually kind of trash, so I would not recommend trying it out at all. So next up we have ash magic. So this is a pretty unique magic, it's like black sand. So basically first up we have ash beam, and I really like how this looks. It gives off like demon vibes. Then we have ash jump. And then we have a pretty nice move, ash explosion. Oh wait, no, this is actually ash pillar. And then I think this should be ash explosion. Yeah, that's ash explosion right there, and it actually looks really nice. I really like the black and the red, pretty unique magic. And then we have ash blast, and then finally we have ash beam or pillar. Oh no, this spherical explosion. And then we have a very unique magic, shadow magic. So first up we have shadow beam. It's just like a super dark, like just shadow particles. Then we have shadow explosion, and I really like the effects on this. Then we have shadow pillar, and it's actually different because it's actually are shadows, like the pillars that come out are shadows. Then we have the next move, spherical explosion. Then we have shadow blast, which is called shadow whisper. And then we have shadow jump. So this is actually really unique, and I think it can be really OP in player versus environment and PvP, which makes it super nice throughout the entire gameplay. Now we actually have Magma magic, which actually has one of the most unique effects in the entire game, and I really like how this looks. It really looks like a Kainu from One Piece. So first up, we just have a big explosion. It's just magma explosion, or like magma blast, and that's magma jump. And I really like the effects on this. It looks really nice, and it has a lot of area damage. Then we have this nice move called magma explosion, or this is pillar actually. No, this is explosion. And yeah, And then we actually have the next move, which is the ultimate move, which is just like a cool little magma attack. Then the next move is the next magma explosion, so it's like magma spherical explosion. Then we actually have an aura, so basically like it does like area damage. It basically is like explosion similar to fire. Then we have magma beam, so it has like a big pillar and it is like a ton of area damage, and this is really good and I really like how this looks. You can put this into your fighting style and more. So now we have the next few crystal magics. So first up we have crystal beam, then we have crystal pillar, and this is actually pretty visually pleasing. And then we have crystal jump, and then we actually have a pretty unique move, crystal explosion. I really like how this looks, like a nice big purple flower. And then we have crystal blast. And finally we just have crystal explosion, and this actually looks really nice. And though this looks nice, it's not that good of a magic. I just recommend using flame or light. But yeah, moving on to the next match. So next up we have sand magic, and then the first move is sand pillar. I basically think that this is just like a recolor or a reskin of snow magic because the moves are kind of the same. Then we have sand explosion, you know, the usual. Then we have sand blast, and then we actually have sand beam. I actually like that because you actually shoot it out with your feet. I think that's pretty cool. And then we have sand spherical explosion, and then the last move should be sand jump. And if you're already at this point in the video, then make sure to subscribe and click the bell icon. And yeah, let's get into our next magic, which is metal magic. So first up we have iron blast, which is a nice little metal particle. And then we have metal jump. I like the little spears, they look pretty unique. Then we have metal explosion. And then we actually have metal aura, or that's just like, yeah, just explosion. That's like self-destruct. And then we have metal beam. Then we actually have another metal aura, and I think that's what differs metal from the other magics. But then next up we actually have, I think, earth magics. Next up we have earth blast, and I really like the particles on this. I like the little rocks in the yellow. Then we have earth explosion. This kind of reminds me of like earth bending from Avatar: The Last Airbender. Then we have earth jump. Yeah, this looks a lot like Toph and like her magic. Then we have earth pillar. That looks kind of weird. Then we actually have earth explosion, but like the upgraded version. So it's like, I don't know what the difference is. But then we finally have earth beam. It does like a little T-pose. I actually like that. That looks really cool. And last but definitely not least, we have glass magic. So this is probably one of the worst magics, but looks cool. So first up we have glass beam. Kind of looks similar to ice. Then we actually have glass explosion, which spawns some glass panels. I guess you want that if you want to make a house or something. Then we have glass pillar. And then we have glass blast. Then we have glass explosion. And then we should have the final move, which is the last glass explosion. And yeah, those are all of the magics in Arcane Odyssey. And this took a really long time to make, so if you like this video, then make sure to like and subscribe and leave a comment down below. And see you guys next time.